Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness unto light. Lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Welcome to the first session of this beautiful retreat. I have a better view. Not only can I see all of you, but I can see what's behind you also. Whereas all that you can see is just plain old me. I have the better half of the bargain. Vedanta tells us that we are Brahman. I am Brahman. But to understand that, we must first understand who am I really? Which I is it that Vedanta is speaking about? Is it the body? Is it the body-mind complex? So first of all, we must know, who am I? In order to understand that I am Brahman, we must start with the I. We must start with what is most familiar to us, and at the same time, as Vedanta will show, most unfamiliar to us. We ourselves, our own selves. We have to start with the I. Who am I? This is what we have to find out. There are different ways in Vedanta to discover this. Not only to understand this, but also how to experience it. The different techniques in Vedanta. Among the well-known techniques are the Pancha Kosha Viveka, the method of the 5 sheets. Pancha Kosha Viveka, method of 5 sheets. I will not go into all those details. Second one, again pretty well known, Avasthatraya Viveka. Avasthatraya. The method of the 3 states, waking, dream and deep sleep. Avasthatraya Viveka. Would you prefer me to write the Sanskrit also, or the English, or both? Because many of you are familiar with these terms. But still, I'll translate all the time. Avasthatraya. You would want me to write English?
Yes, please.
Yes. So, 5 sheets. Method of 5 sheets. 5 sheets. Analysis. 3 states. Analysis. The way it is translated in most of our books is Viveka is translated as discrimination. But I have learned that in America discrimination is a bad word. You are discriminating against this or that. So I have replaced it with analysis. It's the same thing. Analysis. Analysis.
Discernment. We use discernment.
Discernment is also a pretty good word. But then discernment has other shades of meaning. Discerning person. Discernment is, okay, not bad. When 2 things are mixed up, if you can discern one from the other, if you can analyze it into the 2 which are mixed up, in your understanding, that is Viveka. And then the one which we are interested in now, Drg Drsya Viveka. Analysis of seer and seen. Seer and the seen analysis. Drg Drsya Viveka. These are some of the well-known methods in Vedanta to discover who we are. And why do we need to discover who we are? Because once we have a good understanding of our true nature, then this I, properly understood, then we can understand how this I is Brahman. What is Brahman and how am I Brahman? These things will become more clear. It will be possible to understand and experience that only when we realize who we truly are. Not as we seem to be, not what our driving license or passport tells us that we are, but as we truly are, if we can get an understanding and experience of that. For that, different methods are there. Now, we will start there. Who am I? And the method we will adopt is this one. The text that we have selected is indeed called Drg Drsya Viveka. The analysis into it says an inquiry into the nature of the seer and the seen. So analysis into the seer and the seen. Who is the experiencer? Who is the subject? As apart from the experienced, as apart from the object. So this is what we're going to take up. This book specializes in Drg Drsya Viveka. This little text was written probably about 700 to 800 years ago in the south of India, in what is now presently the state of Karnataka. At that time it was the Vijayanagar kingdom, about 800 years ago. Its authorship is not established. We do not know clearly who wrote it. It's attributed to different teachers of Vedanta, but probably again, it is either Vidyaranya, the famous author of Panchadashi, another very well-known text of Advaita Vedanta, 15 chapters on Advaita Vedanta, the Panchadashi, which was in our order, at least the book we use, it was translated by Swami Sarvapriyananada.
Yes.
But so Vidyaranya, the author of the Panchadashi, the arguments, the technique of presentation, the language all seem to be like Vidyaranya. But another good candidate for the author is Bharati Tirtha. Another Swami who was a contemporary of Vidyaranya, maybe his guru, and in fact the Panchadashi, 15 chapters on Advaita Vedanta which Vidyaranya wrote, 10 chapters are actually written by Vidyaranya, and he said the next 5 chapters, the last 5 chapters from 11 to 15 were actually written by Bharati Tirtha. So this book could be either by Vidyaranya or Bharati Tirtha, probably one of the two, and much less likely somebody else. This book has 46 verses, out of which 31 form the bulk of the book, the major portion of the book, which we shall go through at leisure over the next few classes. And the remaining portions, the last 15 verses from 32 to 46, I shall quickly summarize whatever is there in those. It's like an addendum. Now, this first session, what we are going through now, is the most important session of the whole retreat. Because the very first verse of this book is the most important verse of the whole book. It's a powerful, radical statement. It tells us who we are. It tells us how we are to experience ourselves as the Atman, as pure consciousness. All of that is packed into that first verse. We speak about a takeaway. What do you take away from this seminar, from this retreat? I would suggest that if you take away anything, I hope you take the whole thing away, but if that's not possible, if you take away anything at all, take away this first verse, this first session. So this first session is going to be extremely important. It is the key upon which the whole thing depends. And so whatever we will study depends on what we do in this first verse here. We will speak about many things in the course of this retreat. We will speak about, primarily this is the path of knowledge, Jnana Yoga. We will of course speak about Jnana Yoga. But we will speak also in addition about Bhakti. I'm sure you will have questions. How does all this relate to the God of religion whom we worship? We have the beautiful Arati in the morning and in the evening. So what is the relationship between the two? Where is the connection? We will speak about meditation. how it can help us, and other spiritual practices like karma yoga. We'll speak about many things. But in this first session, which I said is the most important session, we will speak about only one thing. Just this one point which the first verse wants to make. And that's the central point. That's what we shall hammer on in this session. The way we shall approach it, the first verse and everything else in this text. And indeed, this is the way of approaching Advaita Vedanta, non-dual Vedanta. It is in 3 stages. First, we must check within ourselves, can I repeat back what the text told me? It seems fairly a simple step. After all, if I go to a class and I listen, I should be able to say what the text or the professor told me. So that's the first stage, but you'll be surprised. After a long talk on Vedanta, or many talks on Vedanta, you come out and somebody asks you, what did you learn? Well, something about it. It's all rather confusing. Swami Ranganathananda famously, he used to tell this funny story. Many years ago, decades ago, in New Delhi, he was giving a speech on Vedanta, and he came out and this rather elderly lady came gushingly up to him. Swamiji, bahut badhiya. Swamiji, it was wonderful, it was wonderful. And then Swamiji said, what did you like, what did you understand in the talk? And then she replied, I'll tell you in Hindi first and then translate it to English. Oh, wo hum kya samjhe Vedanta ki badi baatein. What do I understand? All that high philosophy of Vedanta. But it was good. I remember I gave a talk once in Belur, several years ago. And after the talk, somebody came up to me and said, I really liked it. And I would have liked it even more if I had understood it. So, the first step towards understanding, the 3 steps of understanding Advaita Vedanta, understanding and experiencing. First step is a very simple step, but essential. I must be able to say after the talk, what did he say? What does the text tell me? You don't have to say it in the original Sanskrit. You don't even have to tell me the exact translation, but the gist of it. So that should be, don't worry, I will not ask you, there won't be exams after the class, no tests, but definitely I should be able to repeat back to myself or to anybody else who's interested that this is what is there in the first verse, this is what is there in the second verse. The traditional method of teaching was that the student was expected to memorize the verses. Before you come to the class, you must have the text memorized. And I've seen people, we have done it to some extent ourselves, and I've seen Swamis in the Himalayas got these entire texts by heart. They memorized the whole thing. I remember walking through the forests of Gangotri once, about a decade ago, in the afternoon, after taking our bhiksha, our food, begging for food, and then walking with a Swami, and he was talking to me about Nyaya philosophy, the Indian philosophy of logic, Nyaya. And the text we are talking about was Tarka Sangraha, which is an introductory text of Nyaya. And he recited more or less the whole text while we were speaking about it. And I was impressed, and I said, Swami, I can imagine memorizing Vedanta text, which is central to us, but ancillary texts like Nyaya and other philosophies. And he said to me, again in Hindi, "Padhai to aisi hi hoti hai, Swami." This is how one studies, Swamiji, by memorizing everything. You must have the whole thing, not in printed books, but in your memory. So that was the traditional method. You have a class, you are taught certain verses, and when you enter the next class, you are expected to recite the verses which have been taught in the earlier class. If you do not recite, you are asked to leave the class. I'll take it for granted, not that you memorized it, but at least you know what's there in the book. That's stage 1. Stage 2. Not only can I repeat back what's there in the text, at least to my own satisfaction, but have I understood it? Understood, at least intellectually. At least in the sense of, I have a general idea of what they're talking about. I'm not confused. So can you see that these are 2 distinct stages? One stage is, I can tell you what the book says. Second stage is, I can not only tell you what the book says, but I have understood it. I get what they're trying to say. More or less at least. In general. And the third stage is, this I will not insist on, but this is the goal. Do you feel it? Do you taste it? Do you experience it? Does it feel true to you? Does it feel real to you? Not as a goal, right now, right here, today. Does it feel at least a little bit real to you? These are the 3 stages. And we must have these in mind when we go through these verses. So without any further ado, let us start the text. Drg Drsya Viveka. A word about the title. Viveka we know is analysis, or you can say discernment, or even discrimination. Drg and Drsya. Remember, we are trying to find out who am I. Drg means the seer, the subject, the self. Drsya means the seen, the object, the not self. Why should we need to separate them? Why should we need to discern what is the self and what is the not self? Vedanta says in order to know what we are, who we are, we must first see that we have confused the seer and the seen. We have mixed them up. What we consider ourselves to be, Vedanta will show us, it's a mixture of the seer and the seen. We must separate it in our understanding. The seer is who you really are. The seen is something that you experience. The problem is, as we shall see now, something that we experience, seeing the object, the not self, we have taken the not self as the self. We have taken the object as the subject. We have taken the seen as the seer. We will see now. So you have to separate the two. That's the meaning of the title of the book. Let us start now. I shall recite the Sanskrit, and please recite after me. Do you have this, all of you, do you have the Roman letters, this thing? If you do not have it, please distribute. As we go through this text, a suggestion is that read the original in the Sanskrit letter or in the Roman. Read the translation. Each word has been translated here in the text. You can read that and read the translation. But go through the notes at your own risk. The reason is what is written there is not wrong, but it can be a bit misleading. It's not very clear. In order to understand what the text says, and I cannot emphasize this enough, in order to understand what's being said here, please listen carefully to what I say. I say this without any ego. But please listen carefully to what I am saying, what is being discussed in the class. Rather than going back to, sometimes students, I have done that myself, not listen too much to what the teacher is saying and go directly to the text and try to understand. Go directly to the text if you must, but not so much to the explanations given below. They'll just serve to confuse the issue. Alright. They're not wrong, but they are not very clear. Now let us start. Verse number 1. Rupam Drishyam Lochanam Drg. Please repeat. Rupam Drishyam Lochanam Drg. Tadrishyam Driktu Manasam. Tadrishyam Driktu Manasam. Drishyadhivrittaya Sakshi. Drishyadhivrittaya Sakshi. Drigeva Natu Drishyate. Drigeva Natu Drishyate. Once again. Rupam Drishyam Lochanam Drg. Rupam Drishyam Lochanam Drg. Tadrishyam Driktu Manasam. Tadrishyam Driktu Manasam. Drishyadhivrittaya Sakshi. Drishyadhivrittaya Sakshi. Drigeva Natu Drishyate. Drigeva Natu Drishyate. What does it mean? Remember, we are trying to separate the seer and the seen. It starts in a very simple way. Like any good teacher, the text takes us from the known to the unknown, to what we already understand to what it wants us to understand, from the near to the far. So it starts with something very simple. A form. Rupam literally means color. Actually, when you look around, just look around, we will say we are seeing shapes and people and things and pictures and so many things. But if you look carefully, all that we are seeing is color. All that we are seeing is color. And naturally, after all, the eyes, biologically they are designed to take in only light. Not people and birds and things and trees are not going into the eyes, luckily. All that is going into the eyes is reflected light. That's all. So the eyes literally take in only color. So Rupam here literally means color, but we can extend it a little more and say shapes, forms. So Rupam you can translate into forms. The eyes see forms. When you are seeing in the world, literally seeing. When we are seeing the world, what is happening is we are seeing the forms are the seen, the eyes are the seer. Right? The forms are the seen, the eyes are the seer. Then it tells us the eyes become the seen, the mind is the seer. Then the mind becomes the seen, and there is a witness to the mind which is the seer. And the witness is never seen. I have translated it. Now let us try to understand it, step by step. There are 4 stages to this. 4 stages to this, understanding this verse. 4 stages. Let us see the 4 stages. The 4 stages go like this. Here is the seer and the seen. Stage 1. The entire world is the seen for us. What are we seeing? The world. All that we have been seeing since childhood. We have been seeing the world. From the time we opened our eyes, we have been seeing the world. The world is form. I am translating the word Rupam, form. Whatever you see is a form. And what sees in a very naive way. Take it in baby steps, in a very naive way. What is it that is seeing everything? All these things are seen by the eyes. So, Lochanam Sanskrit means eyes. So the eyes are the seer. You may at this stage object and say that, not true Swami, I am seeing the mind and the consciousness through the eyes, I am seeing the world. Very true. But we are taking it in a very naive way, in a simple way. Baby steps. Eyes are the seer and the forms are seen. Forms of the world are seen. And the eyes are the seer. Now at this point, here is a crucial operating principle which I will give you. We will have to hold on to this all throughout. Notice that the eyes are separate from the forms. The organs, physically, they are a separate entity and the forms are a separate entity. And notice that it has to be so, because the eyes can see only something that is separate from the eyes. In fact, the only thing that the eyes cannot see are the eyes themselves. True. Think about it. You bring something closer and closer, at one point it will disappear. And the eyes themselves, you cannot see the eyes. Swami, I can see it in a mirror. You can see a reflection of your eyes in a mirror.
You see the squigglies in your eyes, so you're seeing the inside of your eyes.
The what in the eyes?
The squigglies, the little index of fluid.
Yeah, but then the organ of vision is seeing something on the surface of the eyes or the lens of the eyes.
That's right.
Yeah, floating. But even then it's not the eyes seeing themselves, because just as you see my eyes, I cannot see the eyes themselves. You see the pen in this way. I can also see the pen in this way. Like more or less the same way you see it. But the way you can see my eyes, I cannot see. At the most I can see those faint squigglies float. They call them floaters.
Floaters.
Yes. But I cannot see the eyes themselves. What am I seeing? I'm seeing floaters. So, the eyes cannot see themselves. I can see a picture of my eyes. I can see a reflection of my eyes. But not the eyes themselves, not directly. So, the seer and the seen it seems, are different. That which sees and that which is seen are two different entities. Please hold on to this operating principle for the 4 stages. As we shall go through the 4 stages, it's important to hold on to this operating principle. What is that? The seer and the seen must be different. Now, one more thing. Not only are the eyes different from the forms which they see, but note also that the forms are many. The eyes are one. Now, I'm not suggesting that you are one-eyed. What I mean is, it's one organ. It's one organ. By the eyes, the seer being one, and the seen are many. It sees the many. Just now, when I look ahead of me, when I look in front of me, I can see many of you. I can see so many things outside this room. A vast range of things to be seen. So many forms. Many, many forms. All seen by the one organ of vision, the eyes. So the seer seems to be one and the seen are many. Third, the seer relatively unchanging, the same eyes. I saw the darkness of the evening yesterday, I saw the early morning light today, now I'm seeing daytime now. People are coming and going, things are changing in the world. Relatively speaking, the eyes remaining the same, they see so many changes in the scene. The seer is relatively unchanging, the seen are continuously changing. 3 things, seer and seen are different, number 1. Number 2, the seer is one, the seen are many. Number 3, the seer is relatively unchanging, the seen are continuously changing. Is this clear?
Yes.
Again, in a very simple way. Don't overthink it. The great French philosopher Sartre, Jean-Paul Sartre, existentialist. Now, it seems that when he was graduating from university there in Paris, he was, of course, a brilliant student, but he failed his examinations, graduating examinations. Why? He was a student of philosophy. He thought that these questions are just too easy, there must be a catch. So all his answers were critiques of the questions. And he got an F grade, failed. The professor said, why can't you just answer the question? But then he was a real philosopher, so don't overthink it, in a very simple way. What have we got? Very quickly, the seer and the seen are different. 1. The seer is separate from the seer is separate from the seen. That's number 1. The seer is one. The seen are many. The seer is relatively unchanging. The seen keep changing. Not theory. It is just repeating back to ourselves a daily experience which we have. Nothing more than that. It starts so simply. Why do you even need to tell us this? We will ask. Every child knows this. Wait. As it goes, the trick about Vedanta is, it starts with baby steps and you go along. This is very simple. Go on, move ahead. And very soon you have taken us into deep waters. Where we see, wait, where did we come? What's going on here? You will see. Stage number 2. Let's go deeper. He says, watch your own eyes, not with the eyes. You just said you cannot see the eyes. But can you not experience my eyes are open, my eyes are closed, the class is so boring, I can't keep my eyes open. Are we not experiencing this? I'm not the last, I hope. But I need glasses for my eyes, I can't see properly. So the conditions of the eyes are well known to us. We can immediately think about it. What knows the eyes? What is the seer? I can use, I'm sorry for using air quotes, but if I can say that what sees the eyes? Sees within quotes. The mind is the seer and the eyes are the seen. Isn't it true?
Yes.
Can we not experience the different conditions of the eyes? I can see well, I cannot see well, eyes are open, eyes are closed. We can see. I remember I was once in a very dark room in the Himalayas, no electricity, no furniture, not a lodge like this. It was something very beautiful, something like this, but none of the amenities. So no heating, nothing. And you just had a log cabin and a few, in Hindi they call them razai, comforters? Comforters, yes. But those comforters were older than me. And 2 below, 3 on top, that's all. It was so dark, you couldn't open any windows because there's a howling wind outside. If you open it, it's like having 6 air conditioners blasting in your face, and it's cold there. But not very cold, not like you get in Canada. But the thing is, whatever it is outside, it's also inside the room. So you don't have any difference. If it says -5 outside, it's also -5 inside, and your bed is also -5. Now it was so dark, I used to experiment with opening and closing my eyes. I couldn't make out anything. My eyes are open, I would shake my hand here, I wouldn't be able to see anything. It's only when the static electricity would jump from my woolen clothes, like sparks, then only I would see something and know, okay, my eyes are open. But we are aware, the mind is aware when the eyes are open, mind is aware when the eyes are closed. Mind is aware of the conditions of the eyes. So the eyes become the seen and the mind becomes the seer. Apply the 3 conditions. The first condition, the seer and the seen are separate. Yes, if you look within yourselves, clearly the eyes seem to be some kind of physical organ. The mind seems to be something psychological. We don't know what it is. And if you don't know what it is, don't feel bad. Even the greatest scientists today and psychologists and psychiatrists, none of them really know what the mind is so far. As the old joke goes in philosophy classes, mind and matter, the great Descartesian dualism, mind and matter. They will ask, what is mind? No matter, doesn't matter. What is matter? Never mind. But whatever the mind is, clearly it is something different from my eyes, in fact different from my physical body. Doesn't seem to be another part of my physical body. Here are my eyes. There is something called the mind which is observing the eyes. So the mind and the eyes are different. Seer and seen are different. Number 2, the various conditions of the eyes, and also the entire body, all the other sense organs, all of them are cognized, recognized, understood by the same mind. So the seer being one, the seen are many. Sort of I'm fitting it in. And third, the relatively unchanging. Mind is changing, no doubt, but mind changes into mind. Thoughts into thoughts, more thoughts come and go. But the eyes, the nose, the skin, the ears, the whole body undergoes various kinds of changes. All those kinds of changes are known by the same thing, thought. Seer and seen are different. Seer is one, seen are many. Seer is unchanging relatively, and seen are changing. 3 points. So far not bad. Again, do you see, it's just repeating what we experience. It's not making any big claim. But now the magic starts. Let's go to the third part of the verse. Look at the mind. Are we not aware when you feel happy? Are you not aware of your own happiness? After all, who else is happy? Who else reports, I am happy? Who else reports, I am miserable? I report because I am able to understand the feelings in my own mind. Am I not aware of my own memories? Am I not aware of my own desires, my hopes, my frustrations? That I am able to understand Vedanta, I am unable to understand Vedanta. All of that is in the mind, and I am aware of it. Something within the mind is aware of whatever is in the mind. Is that not true? Right now? Yes, it is true. So, the mind is also, I am using the mind in a very general term, covering thoughts, emotions, ideas, desires, all of it. And all of it we are aware of. There is something which witnesses. Call it the witness. There is something within us which understands the mind. Now, apply the 3 principles. 1, the seer and the seen must be separate. Seer and the seen are separate. Not only that, the witness remaining the same, the mind changes so much. The seer remains unchanging, the seen keep on changing. The seer is the same seer, and the mind is full of variety. So many thoughts, feelings, emotions, ideas, memories come into the mind and go. So the seer and the seen are different. The seer is one, the seen are many, and the seer is unrelated, is unchanging. The seen are continuously changing. Same principles. But now we have taken a huge step into the unknown. Think about it. What this says is, the seer, I. Who am I? Seer. It tells you, you are the witness of the mind. You are not even your own mind. The mind is there. It's not denying that the mind is there. Of course the mind is there. You are experiencing your mind. You are not the mind. You are not the body. And you are not the external world. You see, when you deny that you are the eyes, you are not the eyes, it includes all the other 5 sense organs. It includes the physical body also. At this stage, we are separating ourselves from the entire mind-body complex. This is the mind-body complex. This is the world. It's not just the eyes. It is the ears. It is the skin, the nose, all of them, the tongue, and the physical body. And here is the mind. All our thoughts, feelings, ideas. In fact, most grown-up, educated, aware persons, intelligent persons consider themselves to be the mind. We feel, if you look at ourselves, at the best we feel ourselves to be minds within bodies, or bodies with minds. That's how we look at ourselves, body-mind complex. Sometimes the stress is on the mind aspect. I am in this body, my body, I say. And sometimes I refer to the body as I myself, here am I. So, it's the body-mind complex which we consider ourselves to be. In this process, we have actually isolated something called the witness. We know not what it is from the body-mind. The witness of body-mind, this is what we are. This is the claim of Vedanta. Already you can see some remarkable applications. Think about it. We'll come to questions. Most of these sessions afterwards will be a little more relaxed, where we can interact more. Here I'm trying to transmit a core idea. And then we'll take questions. Think about it. All the problems of the world, our personal problems, are either out there in the world, or in our body, or in the mind. Problems. Problems of the body, problems of the mind, problems in the world outside, in society, in our interactions with others. The witness has no problems. In fact, very interesting thing is, in deep sleep, we have no problems. I say the person in the intensive care unit of Cedar Sinai, a very good hospital, the person who is sick and dying, will die within a couple of days maybe, and in pain. When that person goes into deep sleep for however short a while, that person has absolutely no problem. In deep sleep, the so-called happiest person and the most miserable person are exactly one and the same experience they have. The most learned of persons, the most ignorant, unlettered of persons have exactly the same experience. The most powerful man in the world, say the President of the United States, and a powerless person, a very weak person maybe wandering around in the streets of LA, they have exactly the same experience in deep sleep. All those things are in the level of the waking and the dreaming, are in the level of the world, our body or mind, not for the witness. The witness still exists in deep sleep. That we'll consider later how it is true. But so, this is the point. Here is this point where I tell a story. It's a well-known story in the Himalayas. A man who was depressed went to a Swami. That's what they do in India. Here, at one time, the style was to go to a therapist. But that I understand has fallen out of fashion nowadays. But earlier it was a part of, you have to have a therapist. So this man who was depressed, who went to a Swami in the Himalayas, and he said to the Swami, I'll tell you the original, it's nice in Hindi, and I'll translate it into English. He talks to the Swami and says, मैं बहुत दुखी हूँ, I am very miserable. And the Swami said to him, दुख का अनुभव करते हो? Do you feel your misery? Do you feel your misery? And the man said, of course, I feel very miserable. That's why I say I am miserable. That's why I have come to you. If I did not feel miserable, why would I come to you? And then the Swami says, now you can do that also. You know what the Swami is going to say? If you feel your misery, it is the scene for you. You are the seer of your misery. You cannot be miserable. The seer and the scene must be different. If you experience the misery in your mind, then that's something that you see. That which sees the misery in your mind must be different from the misery in your mind. Otherwise it won't be able to experience the misery in your mind. If you experience misery, you cannot be miserable. You are the experiencer of misery. You are the seer of misery. Misery is a thought, a feeling in your mind. The mind becomes the scene, you become the seer. Now this may seem strange to you, but do go and think about it. And the man went and thought about it. And actually when you do think about it, you will see, to some extent at least, the troubles in your mind will settle down, will quieten down. When we put a little distance between ourselves and the mind. Let the mind go for a while. Somebody says, the mind in its natural state runs to God. We disturb it. We torture it. We have been torturing it all our lives. That's why it's such a twisted, perverted, miserable little mind. So, when you see yourself, when you step back from the mind, you are the seer of your mind. The mind is an object. Misery is an object which you are experiencing in the mind. You are the witness of the misery in your mind. You are not miserable. And this might seem interesting, a profound insight, but the real punch of the story is going to come next. That man went back to the Swami and he said, आप ठीक कहते हैं, you said, what you said is right. अब मैं बहुत शांत हूँ. Now I am very peaceful. Immediately the Swami came down upon him like a ton of bricks and said, you are not peaceful, you are the witness of the peace in your mind. You see the trap which we set for ourselves. What that person would have felt was, I had gone to the Himalayas, I had come to Loon Lake and attended the retreat, and my mind became so calm. But the moment I come out into the freeways and outside and go back home, mind has become disturbed again. What happened? You did dissociate yourself from the misery in your mind, the misery settled down and there was peace in the mind, and you associated yourself with the peace in the mind. The mind being what it is, it will again get disturbed. It undergoes continuous changes. The moment that peace disappears, you will, because you are associated with the peace of the mind, you identify with it, you will say, I was peaceful earlier, now I have lost that peace. You are the ever peaceful witness to the arising of peace and disturbance in the mind, both of which are not yours. No more than are the waves in the lake yours. You watch the calm lake in the morning, when the wind blows you watch the lake, the waves on the surface of the lake. Just like that, the mind is likened to a lake of which you are the watcher. You are different from the mind. Indeed, at this stage, all the problems are committed to the body and mind. They are not your problems. The problems do not disappear. They are there, but you assign them, you put them where they belong. You don't take it upon yourself. I was giving the example yesterday, Sri Ramakrishna in cancer, pain of cancer, throat cancer. And Hari Maharaj comes and says, I see you are in great bliss. Now how can he do that? Sri Ramakrishna says, oh, he caught me out. Did the pain of the body go away? No. The pain of the body is there. As long as I say, I am the mind and body, I am hurting. When I clearly see, here is the body, just like this pen is in my awareness, this body is also an object in my awareness. This mind is also an object in my awareness. The pen is a gross object, it's a form. The body is at this level. And the mind is a subtle object. But all of them are objects, they are the scene. I am the subject, the seer. And the seer and the scene are separate. They have to be, otherwise I cannot experience it. Not only that, you see, all the changes are either in the world outside or in your body or in your mind. Think about it. Everything that changes. So no, I have also changed. When you say you have changed, what you mean is that you were a kid and then a teenager, then a young man and then a middle-aged man, maybe now an old person. But that's the body. Clearly it is the body. And an elderly lady in Santa Barbara, she told me that a couple of days back I was passing by a store window and I looked in the glass and I looked at this old woman and thought, who is that? I don't even think of myself as that. And it's true, you are not that. It's the body. And the body changes. The body has changed so much. You are the same person. You do not say that little girl was somebody else and this elderly woman is somebody else. No, you clearly experience it. I was that little girl, I am this elderly woman, that's how you experience. And the only thing Vedanta adds to it is, then in that I, you have to separate the seer and the seen. The seer is the consciousness, the seen is the body which has changed from a little girl's body to an elderly woman's body. Every problem is in the world, in the body or in the mind. None of it is in the witness. You have, whenever you say I have changed, you mean either the body has changed or you mean the mind has changed. In the kindergarten, I was so different. You mean your mind was so different. What are the things you liked at that time? What are the things that you knew at that time? And in college, I was so different. What were the things you liked at that time? Or you disliked? What are the things that you had learned in the meanwhile, from kindergarten to college? That's all in the mind. What they are saying, what they're telling us is to distinguish the subject from the mind. It's a very big step. Because all of our conditioning is, we are the mind. We are the mind. We can somehow think that we are minds in bodies, embodied minds. But that we are not minds also. We are the witness of the mind. That's a huge step forward. Now comes, this is not the end, the fourth stage. Now I would like to know this witness. How do I know the witness? I know I can see the forms, I can see the world outside, I can see my own body, experience my own body. I can also sort of experience my own mind. Right. How do I experience the witness? And the answer given here is Drg Drsya. The witness never becomes the seen. I want to put the witness here and I want to say who will see the witness. You see, when I say I want to know the witness, I want to know the Atma, I want to know the pure consciousness, then what am I saying? Know it means I want to put it as the seen. But who will be the seer of the seer? There is no seer, then that will become the seer. The witness, how can you witness the witness? The witness remains as you yourself. It can never happen. The witness remains here and you can never see the witness. Witness is the one which sees everything. You may say, oh, that's so bad. I would like to have seen the witness. But no, you wouldn't have liked to see the witness, because then that you would make yourself an object. Rather, you are the pure subject. You are the seer of all things, the experiencer of all things. That's how it is known. That sounds a bit too clever for me. How do I know that this witness thing exists? It's like saying, I know that the forms, the world exists because I see it. I know that my eyes and my body exist because I experience it. I know that my mind exists, even though you may think you're mindless, but I can experience my mind. You can experience your own mind. In your own head you have these thoughts, emotions, ideas. So the mind is also experienced, and we know all of these exist because we experience them. But how do I know the witness exists? Follow this carefully. If you say, if I ask you, yes. If I ask you, how do you know that I am here in the class? You say, I see you, Swami. Hopefully I hear you, Swami. I see you, Swami. So the proof of my existence in this class is that you see me. Right? The proof of existence is seeing. Anything is here, you say, I see it, therefore it exists. Now let me ask you, how do you know that your eyes exist? Because you don't see the eyes. Now don't tell me, I'll ask somebody else, just look at me, do my eyes exist? No, I automatically know my eyes exist. How do I know? Because I see. See what? Here is a very crucial question. This pen exists because you see the pen. You see the pen, therefore it exists. How do you know your eyes exist? By seeing what? Don't say by seeing the eyes. By seeing anything. The fact that you see anything in this world is a proof that your eyes are existing and they are perfect and they are functioning just fine. Experiencing anything in the world, seeing anything in the world is a proof that my eyes exist and they are working. Right? In the same way, experiencing anything through eyes, through the tongue, through the touch, through any sense organ, through the mind, the fact that we are experiencing anything at all in the world is proof that you are the witness. The witness exists and you are that. That is the proof. The very fact, every experience that we have is a proof that we are consciousness. Without consciousness, no experience would be possible. So, this is what the verse has told us. Let's quickly summarize. What has the verse told me? Verse has told me the seer and the seen are different. We must identify ourselves as the seer. Start with the eyes. The eyes see the forms. Now look at our experience. At every step, match it with experience. Remember the 3 steps I told you about. What does the text tell me? Do I understand it? And is it part of my experience? Is it true? Is it real? Let's watch this. What does the text tell me? Eyes are the seer and the forms, the world is the seen. I understand this, it's clear. Is it true? Is it real? Is it happening right now? Yeah, that's our experience. We are experiencing it. Let's go deeper. The mind is the seer and the eyes, ears, rest of the body, everything is the seen. Seen in the sense, experience, known. Do I understand this? Yes. Is it real? Is it happening right now? Tell me.
Yes.
Can you not feel your own body? I can feel the body. And the mind is the seer and the body is the seen. And it's true, at this stage it's part of my experience. It's not that I have to do a lot of spiritual practice to see that the body is the seen and the mind is the seer. It's there right now. Next step. The mind is the seen and I am the witness of the mind. Do you understand what they are saying? Yeah, I know what they are saying. Is it real? Is it an experience right now? Or do we have to do a lot of spiritual practice to get this experience? I am the witness of my mind. This is the question at this stage. Are you the witness of the mind? Or is it something that's a nice idea but I'm not yet there. I still have to do a lot of spiritual experience. You see, our first response would be to say that up to this it's okay, it's clear. This one is the one which we have to, I understand the idea, I understand the concept, it's a great idea, but I have to make it real. I have to do a lot of meditation and a lot of spiritual practices and attend a few more retreats in Loon Lake before I come to the position where I can say I am the witness of the mind. It's a natural reaction. What Vedanta tells us, and here is the bombshell, just as the eyes are the seer and the world is the seen, the mind is the seer and the body is the seen, right now you the witness, you are the seer, completely apart from mind and body and the world. The world is changing, you are the witness of the changing world. The body is continuously changing over the years, you are the witness of the changing body. The mind is changing from moment to moment, you are the unchanging witness of the changing mind. You are that right now. It's not something that you have to become. If you did become that, you would again lose it. That which is not true now, which becomes true after some sadhana, will again be lost after some time. You must be that right now. You are that. Vedanta just wants to point it out to us. There must be an insight, a moment, a breakthrough, a moment of insight, where clearly you see the body and mind as an object like this pen in the palm of my hand. Whatever is happening to the body and the mind will go on happening. You can't stop it. But you can stand aside. You will be free of it. Swami Vivekananda says in the Inspired Talks, the only freedom we have is to stand aside. A mysterious statement. The only freedom we have is to stand aside. Everything happens here by the will of God, by nature, by whatever you call it. Nature is, Sankhya philosopher would say, Prakriti is doing everything, nature. A devotee of God would say, God is doing everything here. Whatever it is. What about you? Swami Vivekananda says the only freedom you have is to stand aside. It does not matter, be careful, it does not matter that you're going to just sit quietly. You're going to retreat forever to Loon Lake and sit out the rest of your life. What are you doing? I'm standing aside. Not stand aside with your body. Stand aside from your body. Stand aside from the mind. The body will go on acting. You can't prevent it. The mind will go on thinking. So whatever you're doing in life, that can go ahead. But here it is a much deeper sense, a separation is being spoken about. That separation exists, you just have to recognize it. This is the profound insight that I'm talking about. Look at one more point. When the eyes become the seeing, they are no longer the seer. The mind becomes the seeing here, so the mind is no longer the seer. It is the witness alone which is the seer. You see, ultimately, it is the witness alone which is the seer. The real Drg is the witness. The Sanskrit word for witness is Sakshi. It's a beautiful word. Sakshi means witness. In many Indian languages, Sakshi means witness. Bengali, Hindi and many languages. So Sakshi is the word used here in the verse. Drishyadhivrittaya Sakshi. So Sakshi is the witness of the modifications of the mind, and that's what we are. What is the nature of this Sakshi? It must be pure consciousness. Why? Consciousness because it enables all experience. I experience my thoughts, the arising and disappearance of my thoughts. I experience the arising and disappearance of my perceptions, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting. I experience the changes in the world outside. All of that is experienced. Experience means consciousness. Otherwise, how would there be experience? So the nature of Sakshi must be consciousness. Why did you say pure consciousness? Is there an impure consciousness? When this consciousness is mixed up with the mind, which is our normal state, which is what we are mostly, a conscious mind, then many thoughts, feelings, emotions, ideas, desires, they come and go in the mind. That's what you might call an impure state. Consciousness in itself is what I call pure consciousness. Consciousness in itself is what the text calls Sakshi. Alright. Having said this, in the little time remaining to me, I will now do something which is normally not done. I will jump ahead to almost the end of the text. At the end of the text, after talking about everything, 6 techniques of meditation are given, which enables us to stabilize ourselves in this knowledge of the Sakshi. Why didn't you jump straight ahead then to the end of the text? It will not work unless you have this idea down clearly in your minds. Unless this part is clear, that technique will not work. Now, hopefully to some extent this part is clear. Let's try out that technique. And that technique is something that we will try out for every session. Little bit of time in every session. That will be the practical aspect of whatever we discuss. We'll discuss many things over the next few days. Lots of things will come up. in the verses ahead. But this is the core idea. This is the saving knowledge. This is the knowledge that frees us right now. We are the Sakshi, limited by the mind and body. We are the billionaires. We have forgotten that we are where the billions are all stashed away, and we are now on welfare. It is true that I am a billionaire, but then why are you collecting food stamps and why are you homeless on the streets of LA? Because I don't know where my billions are. I know I have it, but which bank has it? Where are the passbooks and account numbers? I don't know. Vedanta tells you where it is, so that you can access what is already yours. Vedanta is the perfect management consultant. You know the definition of a management consultant? He'll look at your watch and tell you the time. He'll look at your watch and then he'll tell you the time. Vedanta is looking straight at you and telling you what you are right now. Let's try it. The technique of meditation. Come to verse number 24. We'll do 24 and 25, two techniques. Verse number 24. Please repeat after me, then we will go through this in a guided way. Kamadhyashchittaga drishya, kamadhyashchittaga drishya, tat sakshittvena chetanam, tat sakshittvena chetanam, dhyayet drishyanuvidhoyam, dhyayet drishyanuvidhoyam, samadhissa vikalpakah, samadhissa vikalpakah. You can easily understand the meaning now. I'll just tell you what it says. Whatever thought comes up in the mind, kamadhya, it may be desire, it may be a bad thought, it may be a good thought, it may be a happy thought, a miserable thought, it may be the thought that I understand what this technique is, it may be the thought I do not understand what this technique is. Let whatever thought come up in your mind, be aware of yourself as the seer of that thought, as the witness of that thought. Look at it as shining in the light of the witness. In the light of the witness, thoughts are arising and disappearing in the mind. You are the witness in which all these thoughts are coming and disappearing. The mind itself is shining in your light. You are apart from it. Tat sakshittvena chetanam. Look upon your consciousness as the witness of that thought. Which thought? Whatever thought comes in your mind. Do you see here the difference between yoga and Vedanta? In yoga, in meditation, just a point. In meditation, you imagine a deity. You have a mantra and you're trying to hold on to one particular thought. Repeat that again and again. That's a different technique. This technique, you are not interested in what the thought is. Here we are not interested in what is there in front of us. Whatever is there in front of us, I must become aware of my eyes watching that. I am not interested in the book, I am interested that my eyes are watching this book. Whatever you put in front of me is good enough for me. So whatever thought comes into your mind, use it. Use it. It's a lever. It's like something like a pole vaulter uses a pole to jump over a barrier. Use that thought to become aware of the witness. You cannot become the witness. You cannot make the witness an object. You can only become the witness, or you know yourself as the witness. Just be aware. Just as, follow this carefully. Just as I use this book or this pen to become aware of not the book or the pen, become aware of my eyes watching the book or the pen. That's the best example I can give. Watch the arising of thoughts, become aware of the consciousness in which they are arising. Yourself, you the consciousness, the witness, the sakshi of that thought. What thought? Any thought. Don't worry. No thoughts are coming, Swami, my mind is blank. My usual state when I listen to Vedanta, mind becomes blank. Wonderful. You are the witness of the blankness of the mind. Absolutely. That consciousness which is witness to the waking state all your life. That consciousness which is witness to all your dreams in sleep. That consciousness which is witness to the blankness of deep sleep. Where your waking life is not there, your dreams are not there, nothing is there. That which watches the nothing.
Repeat please.
That which watches the nothing in your deep sleep. The nothing. In deep sleep, no experience. Absence of things to experience. That's what is deep sleep. But that absence is also illumined by the same consciousness. You are the witness. You are the witness of the presence of thoughts. You are the witness of the absence of thoughts. You are the witness of the gap between thoughts. Become aware of that. I'll take you to the second stage. Just sit straight. Relax a little for a couple of minutes. You can keep your eyes open if you like, or closed. Better is closed. Breathing in and out normally. Breathing in and out normally. Open your eyes slowly. The whole world appears to your eyes. Your eyes are the seer, and the world is the seen. It's apart from you, it's different from you. Close the eyes. You were aware of the opening and closing of the eyes. The mind is what was aware of the opening and closing of the eyes. The eyes are something different from the mind. Thoughts are coming and going in the mind. You are clearly aware of the presence of thoughts, their arising and their disappearance, and the absence of thoughts. The mind is something different from you, the witness. That witness, which must be pure consciousness, in which thoughts arise, perceptions arise and disappear. That witness is different from the mind. It is one. It is unchanging. Affirm to yourself, I am the ever detached witness. Mentally tell yourself, that witness is never attached, the unattached witness. The witness is self-luminous. That witness is Sat, Chit, Ananda, existence, consciousness, bliss. That witness which you are is non-dual. There is nothing apart from it. Every time a thought comes up, a feeling comes up, a sensation comes up, immediately see that you are the witness of that thought. You are the witness of that sensation, of that feeling. Use every thought, idea, emotion, feeling, perception to return to the witness. That witness which is unattached, self-luminous, without a second, Sat, Chit, Ananda, existence absolute, consciousness absolute, bliss absolute. Do not worry if thoughts come. Just use that as another occasion to become aware of the witness. Slowly open your eyes. actually introduced you to verse number 25 also, the second meditation technique, which I will read out now and just give you the briefest idea about it. 25th verse. You need not repeat. I'll just chant it now. You just relax in the witness. Asanga Satchidananda Swaprabho Dvaita Varjita Asmiti Shabda Vidhoyam Samadhissa Vikalpaka. Now all of these words you will not be able to understand because we have not covered many parts. But basically what they are doing here is, you use a thought to become aware of the witness of the thought, and then use a set of words. Use the words in the mind itself. In the mind itself you tell, this witness is asanga, unattached to anything. All the changes are in the world. All the changes are in the body. All the changes are coming and going in the mind. The witness is unattached to anything. Asanga, this witness. Note that this witness is asanga, means unattached to anything in this universe. It's not attached to your dearest, most beloved person, nor even more difficult, not even attached to your worst enemy. That is arisen in your witness, and also disappear in your witness. Not attached to anything in this world. And this is not something that you have to become. You are already that. That's the amazing thing that Vedanta is telling us. Somebody says to me that, oh, only monks like you can be unattached to the world, but we have so many attachments. I say, Vedanta tells us, no, at this moment you are as much unattached to the whole world, universe, everything that you consider to be yourself, everything that you consider yourself to be attached to, you are actually completely unattached to it. As much as the greatest Shankaracharya or Ramakrishna Paramahamsa or Vivekananda or anybody. How so? That does not seem to be true. Imagine the greatest possible attachment in this world. The attachment of a young mother for a newborn baby. Young mother for her baby. Most attached. Deepest possible attachment. Whole life becomes about the child. It has to be, otherwise how will the child be brought up? Imagine that mother when she goes to sleep at night. At this point somebody will smile and say, Swami, you don't know much about being a mother. They don't get much sleep. They don't get much sleep. But when she does go to sleep, she forgets the world, she forgets herself, just like us. She forgets the object of greatest attachment in her life, the baby. Completely forgotten. In a waking state, if the baby is out of her sight for some time, she will become worried. Where did the baby go? For 6 or 7 hours at night, completely gone, no thought of it. She goes out of this waking world, not with reluctance. Oh, what will happen to my baby when I'm asleep? With greatest of ease and relaxation. Thank God, going into deep sleep. So, actually speaking, we have that capacity. That is the witness. It just slides out of this universe of our life without any attachment. Or the universe slides by. It does not go anywhere. It just shines. Asanga, that's the meaning of the word. Contemplate upon it. And as you watch it, you will see that every problem comes and goes. You, the witness of the problem, you are the same. Anything in your life. Even the body is born, ages, gets old, diseased and dies. You are the witness. Completely untouched. You are neither born, nor do you get older, nor do you die. So, asanga. And the other words will become meaningful as we go into the verses. Alright, let me conclude this talk. We have run over time. We are coming close to lunchtime now. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tatsat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. Now what I want to say is, this session was different. It was a bit intense. Remember, other sessions which will come, we will learn many things. In this session, we learned only one thing. You may think that we have said so many things, but actually we learned only one thing, the witness. And hold on to that. That's the major takeaway from this entire retreat. That's what you are or we are. After this, we will learn many things. What is this witness? What is this world? What is karma? How does this world come? And how am I Brahman? What are the practices to be done? Many things it will come in this book, slowly. A very nice little book, powerful little book. But you can see already in the first verse. The first verse, which is most important in this book, and almost equally as important, is the 20th verse. It's a tremendous verse again. I know, a lot of people. We'll come to that. Thank you very much. In the next session, it will be more relaxed and more interactive. You'll be free to ask questions and interrupt. We'll go at a more relaxed pace. Thank you.
Thank you very much.